Palate to Palate with Robert St. John and Wyatt Waters is made possible by a generous contribution from Sanderson Farms. Additional funding is provided by this and other public television stations, and from viewers like you. Thank you.
So on the Magical Mississippi tour, there were a lot of surprises. Sometimes you and I were surprised, but this surprise we planned for a few weeks. It took a lot of pre-planning and a little bit of organization and a little bit of coaxing and pulling along, but we got it done, and the people were in for a huge treat.
Big surprise.
The Magical Mississippi Tour is a complete immersion into Mississippi music, art, food, culture, personality. We cover it all. Day one, we were at the B.B. King Museum. We had a great dinner in the Delta and a concert by Eden Brent. Day two, so we had started day two with a James Beard Award-winning chef telling us stories of the Delta, a James Beard nominated chef cooking us breakfast. We would end the day with a James Beard Award-winning chef cooking us dinner and a James Beard nominated chef cooking alongside him. It was the end to a perfect day. So we're running a little late. It had been a long day. We got you to the square late. You got a painting done just as the sun was setting. We were staying in the Graduate Hotel. We're rushing to get to dinner. We chose dinner. I wanted John Currence to cook dinner because if you're going to Oxford, I don't want anybody cooking but John Currence. John mentioned a place called the Farmstead, which is outside of Oxford, in the outskirts of Oxford. A beautiful place. They have kind of a flower farm there. There's a cow pasture. It's a nice facility. I think they do a lot of weddings and stuff there. We were running late. It was dark by the time we got there. Anthony, our director, got ahead and started, setting up for the shoot and things like that. I was on the bus. I'd never been to this place before. One would think Anthony, the director, who got there 30 minutes to an hour ahead of us, would call and give us specific directions on which, because we're on a 40-foot bus, which fork to take in the road in the cow pasture. Did Anthony call?
No, it's a Robert Frost moment.
We took the road less traveled that night, and we ended up on a bus in the dark in a cow pasture having to back up. Not an easy thing. Thank you, Anthony.
Back it up.
Thanks for the call. You could have said, Robert, take the left fork. But no, we take the right fork. I had to get out. I got us here, though.
We made it!
We are here.
Thank you for doing this. So we got off to a little bit of a shaky start, but it was 100% worth it. James Beard Award-winning chef John Currence.
I'm so lucky because I am surrounded by so many unbelievably talented people. And remember, you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. And that, quite literally, is how I've lived my life and how I have assembled this team here. My very dear friend and who I've cooked with for over a quarter of a century, Vishwesh Bhatt, our
southern part of the country where I grew up, they do fish that's poached in little coconut milk and served with rice. So that's generally the idea. We're just kind of lightly roasting the fish and then coming on top with the really nice spicy broth.
5-time James Beard nominated chef, and then you had Rusty Anderson from Big Bad Breakfast. All three of those guys, heavyweights in the kitchen.
God bless all of you. I hope that the rest of the tour will not be as much of a disappointment as I like to think that it might be after tonight. Cheers to all of you, and thank you guys for making my life the rich, ripe oyster that it is. Thank you all very much.
on top of that, you had Carrie Hudson on guitar and Katrina Miller on violin. So food and music, and it was a perfect evening.
I gotta see little jelly roll. All right. Come on, girl, well, I want you to rock me all night. My baby dynamite, she squeezed me oh so tight. She run up man above. A little girl got jelly roll. All right. Come on, baby, well, I want you to rock me all night.
When Wyatt and I came up with the idea for the Magical Mississippi Tour, we knew we were going to start every day with Bloody Marys and mimosas on the bus, and we knew we were going to end every day with live music. The first person we thought of was this guy right here, Carrie Hudson. We knew Carrie Hudson was going to be a part of this deal. So
Honored.
yeah, well, we're honored, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Mississippi Music.
Yeah.
He's a child of the Piney Woods, and we brought him up here to the Hill Country to do a little performance. He and Katrina are doing a great job, and again, we keep taking it up kind of another level.
Doing a great job there, man.
Thank you, my friend. Nice. I lived up here for 25 years, so it's nice to. I have dual citizenship.
You're kind of bi-coastal, yeah.
Got a foot in the
Sardis and Lake
And
Surrey.
Enid, right? Yeah, right. True that.
Carrie Hudson and Katrina Miller were fantastic. I've always been a fan of Carrie's, but this is the first time I've heard Katrina. But I really loved their work together and the way they blended. It was just fantastic.
It was a really, really special night.
This is a high class get together, so I left the dirty parts out.
Everybody went down hard that night. It had been a long day. It was day 2, a full day. And the way you and I travel with groups, I mean, we squeeze in really 2 days worth of stuff into one day. But people might complain a little bit about it while they're, but once it's over, you look back at that day and you look back at the entire trip and you can check every box. And that's what we wanted. We wanted people to check every box. We went through Mississippi, we did that, we did that,
It was
we
a
did
full
that.
experience.
Yeah. Day 2 was the end of a great day. We went back to the Graduate Hotel. You and I kind of hung out on the roof for a little bit. They have a great rooftop bar up there. Everybody else was asleep. Then we got up the next morning and it was the big surprise. So we started every day with breakfast, usually somewhere, but today, because we had this special thing planned, I wanted to have breakfast on the bus. So we went to Bottle Tree Bakery and got breakfast carry out, and you've got a long history with Bottle Tree.
Listen, when I go to Oxford and I do paintings or whatever I'm working up there, I always have coffee at Bottle Tree. And I also have, I think I have a ginger scone is my favorite, but I kind of play the field on the pastries there. All the baking's great right there as well.
Yeah, and our friend Martha Foose was one of the founders of Bottle Tree Bakery there. So we have biscuits on the bus. When you and I started talking about this trip, we wanted to cover all of Mississippi. One place we wanted to go that actually I'd never been to, you had painted and had some experience with, was Elvis Presley's birthplace.
Yeah, you got to paint
can't
Elvis.
do a tour of Mississippi without going to Tupelo and Elvis Presley's birthplace. And so we wake up in Oxford, we have breakfast, and of all the things we planned on the trip, the thing I looked most forward to was this, because I knew it was going to be that moment when this thing happened. So what we did is we found the absolute best Elvis impersonator in Tupelo, Mississippi we can find. It's a fellow named
Tribute artist.
Yeah, that's right. So we found the absolute best Elvis tribute artist we could find in Tupelo, Mississippi. His name is Jack Curtis. He's an awesome guy. He's an insurance salesman by day and an Elvis Presley tribute artist every other time. So we wanted it to be a complete surprise. So we had it set up to where he would be hitchhiking outside of Oxford, and we would pick him up and he would do his whole show on the tour. And we weren't sure if he was going to go for it, and were we wrong about that, man? He went for it.
Gosh.
He was down to the point because we had seen some video of him, and I'm a fan. I don't know about you. We've never talked about this.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of 70s Vegas Elvis. Mm-hmm. Are you a fan of like the 50s Elvis, 68 Elvis,
I
or
like both
70s?
of them, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was a fan of the comeback too.
Yeah, 68.
Yeah.
That was a cool Elvis.
Leather.
But my favorite Elvis is mid-70s Elvis. I love mid-70s Elvis. And so this guy had done a show in this blue jumpsuit and the whole thing, and we wanted him doing a show on the bus. So that's what we were going to do. We were going to pick him up hitchhiking. He's going to get on the bus and do his whole nightclub tour on the way into the Elvis Presley birthplace into Tupelo.
It was perfect.
Yeah, we wanted him in this blue suit, but he's very serious about this Elvis stuff. And he made the point, and it's probably a valid point, that if Elvis were hitchhiking by the side of the road, he probably wouldn't be wearing the blue suit. He'd be more in blue jeans with a guitar around his neck and the whole thing.
Yeah, it's jailhouse rock.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. And we said, we'll just make that work. And so our wonderful director, Anthony Thaxton, had an idea, and through the magic of television, he made that work. And so once again on the tour, our guests told us, how are you going to top that? And I think we did.
Man, I hadn't sang in about a week, and I guess I could sing to them horses. But I'd rather sing to a crowd, man. Maybe we'll get lucky and somebody will come along. It's a hot day in Mississippi, baby. Even the horses are sweating out here today.
When I was growing up, my mom said never pick up hitchhikers. And I did, but it looks like we got a hitchhiker up here. Can y'all see this hitchhiker over here?
Look, man, here comes somebody now. It looks like they're slowing down.
I think we need to pick up this hitchhiker.
I think I got somebody to sing to, baby. Showtime.
Today we're picking up a hitchhiker. You don't get this on the Rick Steves tour.
Hey, Elvis.
Yo!
I thought nobody would ever stop, man. Hello, how y'all doing, man?
Hey, yo! Look who it is!
I thought I'd never get picked up around here. How y'all doing, man?
Well, that's alright, mama. That's alright for you. That's alright, mama. Any way you do, that's alright. That's alright. That's alright now, mama. Any way you do.
So we stopped and picked up Elvis, and the people went nuts. I knew it was going to be big, and it was really the thing, man, I was just really, really looking forward to doing, but it turned out bigger than I thought.
Oh, it was just crazy. It was like people turned into 16-year-old girls. It was just
that's true.
Really,
It was a hit. He did the thing. He was great. Man, he is serious about what he does, and he's very good at what he does. So we owe Jack Curtis a lot.
Well, mama, she done told me. Papa done told me too. Son, that girl you fooling with, she ain't no good for you. Oh, that's all right.
It was a perfect setup heading into the Elvis Presley birthplace.
And he timed it to where it ended right as we were pulling into the parking lot. I couldn't believe that.
It's almost like we planned it, and we had nothing to do with that.
Well, that's alright. That's alright now, mama. Any way you do.
better than that, baby.
Hey, let's give Elvis a
I want to say thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
He had scarves that he was wiping his brow with his sweat, giving it to fans, girls, and all. And we had one lady on the trip who got a little pelvis. Pelvis. There was a pelvis cam.
Well, it was the Vegas Elvis, and as you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and what happens with Vegas Elvis stays with Vegas Elvis. It was a great experience. It took the day up to about a level 11. And everybody was pumped and fired up, and so we ended up at the Elvis Presley birthplace. I had never been there, and was so looking forward to this.
It was cool.
Oh, it was
very cool.
I've been there
before.
Yeah.
A lot of folks, will go by and they take photos. I kind of stood in that same little area and did my painting.
I painted here one time, and the maintenance guy went to a storage building and came back. And by the time I was through the painting, he came back with a slice of the tree that Elvis played under. About this big around, you could count the rings back to when he was a kid. A nice memento of Elvis.
They had to cut the tree down. They gave me a little. He didn't give them to everybody, so I felt very privileged.
Oh, you got a section of the tree?
Yes, I got a section of the tree.
Dude, you never told me. How do I not know
Elvis
this?
played under the magical mystery tour. Where all these things we keep discovering.
I thought I knew everything to know about Wyatt Waters. I've just learned something new.
Good morning to all you folks on the TVs. We're excited about having this Mighty Mississippi tour here at Elvis Presley Birthplace.
We're thrilled that this group has decided to stop in Tupelo and make it part of their tour. When we heard they were coming, we wanted to make sure we rolled out the red carpet as best we could, so we're excited that they're here.
Another cool thing is his actual childhood church was moved to the site right by the birthplace.
Very moving.
Set up exactly like that. They have this cool presentation with a minister, and it's a recreation of what an actual service would have been like, and when Elvis would have been there. And
those were his musical beginnings.
Yeah, it was a huge influence on him. And then once again, for the second day in a row, our wonderful director, Anthony Thaxton, got up on the piano. This one is a little more out of tune than the piano on the first day, and played a little gospel sing-along one more time.
Yes, it was good.
Yeah. In Elvis Presley's church, another very palate-to-palate moment, those things that are just impromptu, that just happen on our trips, and end up being meaningful experiences.
It was a religious experience.
Everybody sang along. It was obviously an old spiritual or old hymn. It was not in the Methodist hymnal that I grew up with. I didn't know the song, but I was inspired to get up and behind the pulpit at the end of the song. Brother Waters and I feel like we've been washed in the blood. Though we are on an unholy time schedule, and we've got about 15 minutes. Yeah. I shucked the corn a little bit.
Now this is where he learned to sing, learned to play the guitar. So we feel like he got his training here.
My first visit to the Elvis Presley birthplace was a very meaningful one. It was certainly quite a setup getting there, but then the experience there, we didn't have a lot of time, and we kind of rushed through the museum part of it. But you've got a long storied history with music and musical instruments and.
So I paint a guitar and a still life, and it turns out really well. I grew up playing the guitar myself, which is really the symbol of rock and roll, which is Elvis is the king of, and I grew up playing the guitar myself. So it was a fun way to do this.
You're a great guitar player. He's being very humble and very modest. He's a great guitar player. He's a great songwriter and a good singer too.
Music is great. Mississippi, we produce a lot of great people here. This is me finishing up another musical painting. I've been working on a series of these for a long time. In Mississippi, it's an appropriate thing to paint because there are so many musicians in Mississippi.
Yeah, it's the birthplace of America's music.
It is. Thank you. Thank you very much.
On the Magical Mississippi Tour, we wanted to cover all bases. And you can't do Mississippi food if you don't do barbecue.
God knows.
And one of my favorite barbecue places in all of the state is the Little Dooey in Starkville, Mississippi. So we're leaving Tupelo. We're on our way to Meridian. Where else are you going to eat lunch? You're going to eat lunch at the Little Dooey. I love the Little Dooey. It's been there for a long time. So many famous people have eaten at the Little Dooey. Any sportscaster who has called a Mississippi State football game in the last 30 years has eaten at the Little Dooey.
I was explaining to the group earlier that Little Dooey is not a person, but a good time, kind of. Is that right?
Yeah. A little lanyap is basically what it means. Yeah. A little something special, a little extra effort, a little love.
So we think that Little Dooey simply means good food, good friends, and good fellowship.
I'm cutting my ribs off the bone. I'm trying to be dignified.
We're at the king of rock and roll of Starkville, Mississippi, is this guy right here, Mark Keenum.
Yes,
he is the Elvis of Mississippi State University. He found out, this is great, because we didn't ask Mark to be here. He found out we were coming. He asked if he could come, welcome everybody. He also brought everyone a signed and autographed cowbell that says, "Ring responsibly."
Ring responsibly.
Got a cowbell. I'm excited.
Well, Robert, I was excited to hear that y'all were coming, that you put Starkville on your tour, and to come to Little Dooey is a wonderful place that I love to bring my family to. And there are a lot of good Mississippi State Bulldogs in your group, and I just want to welcome both of you here, because I think so much of both of you. And what you do as ambassadors for Mississippi, I think is outstanding. And for you to showcase our state like you're doing, I think is wonderful. And I just want to be here to say thank you and welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and we appreciate it. We have some barbecue with us?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm really here.
Thank you for rolling out the maroon carpet.
Absolutely, Wyatt. So we have to ring it responsibly, okay? And y'all were doing a really good job, by the way.
And now would be a good time. Let's ring Mark out and thank him for coming.
And he showed up to give us a ringing welcome to Starkville, Mississippi.
More cowbell.
That restaurant started out very small, very modest, and it has grown. My daughter, who's a senior at Mississippi State, has had sorority parties there. It's just
it's a big Dooey.
It's a big Dooey. Yeah.
Server skills.
Everybody says they have the best barbecue. The best barbecue is the barbecue you're eating at that moment.
We're all in this together.
Pleasure to meet you.
You know, the last time we were in Starkville, it was, we were milking cows, and we were. This time we were like, meeting the president, and it was a long way. So we get back on the bus and we roll back, roll on again.
We left Starkville, bellies full, souls satisfied, with a little bit of bell ringing and clanging on the way. Loaded up on the bus, we're headed to Meridian. And on the way to Meridian, because we do an afternoon snack every day on the Magical Mississippi Tour, we had to stop at the Mennonite Bakery in Brooksville, Mississippi, where, by the way, all the St. John's come from Brooksville, Mississippi.
I'm going to run in and get our afternoon snack, and then we'll be right back.
And we got sugar cookies from the Mennonite Bakery.
Good to see y'all.
Good to see you. We were talking about your family the other day.
Uh-oh, was it good or bad?
No, it was good.
Okay.
About the prominent families that used to be in this county. They ain't here no more than St. John was. There's not one here anymore.
Yeah. We'll come join y'all one time if y'all don't mind. I'd love to hear some old Brooksville stories.
Come on.
Even though everyone was full, every sugar cookie got eaten.
How sweet it is.
So it had been a full day and wasn't even halfway over. We started in Oxford, Mississippi on the historic square. picked up a hitchhiker on the way to Tupelo. He sang us all the way into Elvis Presley's birthplace. We had barbecue with the president of the university, and we're heading through the cotton fields on the way to Meridian. We've done all that, but there's so much more to come.
More and more and more better. More better.
Stay tuned.
Many of the paintings seen on today's program are featured in the A Mississippi Palate cookbook. This beautiful volume also includes Mississippi heritage recipes. A Mississippi Palate cookbook. Palate to Palate with Robert St. John and Wyatt Waters is made possible by a generous contribution from Sanderson Farms. Additional funding is provided by this and other public television stations. And from viewers like you. Thank you